Removal vans seen at the Royal Lodge. Is Prince Andrew finally leaving the Windsor estate?
It's been months of quiet resistance, stalled conversations, and what insiders describe as outright refusal to engage. But this week, there were finally visible signs that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor may be reaching the end of the road at Royal Lodge. For a long time, the assumption was that he would simply sit tight and wait it out, that the pressure would ease, the headlines would move on, and the conversation about his future would quietly disappear. But instead, the opposite seems to be happening. The first real clue came not from an official palace statement, but from Norfolk. Workmen were spotted arriving at a remote farmhouse on the Sandringham estate, a property that, by royal standards, is modest, even basic. Fresh fencing, new lighting, visible construction equipment. It was the kind of activity that immediately caused a stir in the media. Then, days later, a royal household removal van was seen entering the grounds of Royal Lodge itself. Not a casual visit. Not a delivery. A removal van. That was the moment many watchers realised something had shifted.
Andrew, I think we have to call him Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor now, just Andrew Windsor will do me, and Sarah Ferguson. There's a story in the Express, I think it is, so saying they're rumoured to be considering selling royal valuables. I mean, surely they're not going to have a garage sale when he clears out of that massive mansion he's living in, is he?
Royal Lodge, the 30-room Grade 2 listed mansion on the Windsor estate, has been Andrew's stronghold. It's where he retreated after stepping back from public life, where he continued to live largely as he always had, despite losing patronages, military roles and official duties. Now, according to multiple sources, that house is in chaos. Boxes stacked, paperwork spread everywhere. Decades of documents, letters, photographs, memorabilia, all being sorted through under growing pressure. One source described the atmosphere as tense and emotional, with Andrew only recently accepting that he cannot take everything with him. The property being prepared for him is Marsh Farm, a red brick farmhouse on the Sandringham estate with just 5 bedrooms. 5 bedrooms, no staff quarters, limited garaging, and none of the grandeur he has known for most of his adult life. Insiders say Andrew has been advised on how to declutter, though the process has been deeply resisted. He is said to be trying to mentally shut out the move altogether, keeping packing materials away from his personal rooms and refusing to engage directly with the reality of what's happening. His former wife, Sarah Ferguson, has been closely involved. Despite their divorce decades ago, the two remain tightly bonded.
Andrew, is he on the move?
Yes, it seems to be that he's going to get out before his birthday, which is on February the 19th. So that's going to be really quick. There's a lot of people working very hard at Marsh Farm.
She has been helping him go through possessions, offering emotional support and acting as a calming presence when tensions rise. Staff has been brought in to help with the sheer scale of the task. This is not just clothing and furniture. It's box after box of personal correspondence, official documents and letters accumulated over a lifetime at the heart of the royal family. Some of it, sources say, is sensitive. Not everything is being allowed to leave Royal Lodge. Among the most striking developments is the removal of Andrew's privately owned firearms. He is known to be a shooting enthusiast, and over the years received expensive guns as gifts from wealthy friends. These were removed from the property in November. At the same time, Andrew quietly surrendered his gun licence at the request of Metropolitan Police firearms officers. The officers reportedly consulted with the King's private secretary, Sir Clive Alderton, before travelling to Windsor for what one source described as an awkward and heated discussion.
King Charles is going to let him have a place near there in Sandringham, but he'd just have to wait. But I think now perhaps Andrew said, look, I've had enough, let me out of this room.
Andrew was said to be furious. Voices were raised, tempers flared. It was only after Sarah intervened that the situation de-escalated. Eventually, Andrew handed over the guns. Rather than being impounded, they were transferred directly into the possession of the king. It is a highly unusual arrangement and speaks volumes about how tightly controlled this situation has become. The firearms removed were not those held in the royal armouries at Sandringham and Balmoral. Those remain under royal control and can only be used by Andrew under supervision. His ceremonial swords, which require no licence, are still with him. Even so, the symbolism was unmistakable. Another privilege gone. Another reminder that his life is narrowing. Marsh Farm itself has sat empty for years. Parts of the property date back to the 18th century. Historically, it housed tenant farmers and hosted community events in the 1970s, including barn dances, charity gatherings, and even Girl Guide camps. Now it is being hurriedly transformed. A new 6-foot security fence has been installed, replacing old wire fencing. CCTV cameras and security lights have been added. A no-fly zone is believed to have been requested to prevent drones from hovering overhead. Engineers were seen installing satellite equipment, and heavy machinery has been used to address long-neglected drainage issues.
Oh, look, Steve, this will be a very sad tale if it gets to this a level of desperation by the former Duke and Duchess of York. But we know that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor is packing his suitcases this year. He's being turfed out of Royal Lodge.
The farmhouse sits in Wolferton, a tiny village with a population of around 200 people. It is quiet, isolated, and far removed from the Windsor bubble Andrew has lived in for years. The nearest distraction is a circular walk around Sandringham Bog, or perhaps a local golf course. There is no on-site accommodation for staff. This means Andrew cannot bring trusted aides with him. Instead, the king is expected to provide support staff from Sandringham on an occasional basis. A cleaner, a groundsman, a cook as needed. Sources say this arrangement has been deeply unpopular with Andrew, who is accustomed to constant, discreet assistance. There is also limited garage space for his vehicles, another point of frustration, although that may be addressed during renovations. Despite all this activity, insiders say Andrew has not yet formally agreed to the move. The farmhouse still requires significant work, and negotiations over the finer details are ongoing. In the meantime, there is growing belief that Andrew will be moved into temporary accommodation soon. The goal, according to one source, is to spare him from watching his life be dismantled piece by piece. Andrew's personal rooms at Royal Lodge are reportedly kept free of packing boxes. A trusted staff member has been left behind to supervise the process, allowing Andrew to distance himself from the reality unfolding around him. One personal detail that will not be following him is his once infamous teddy bear collection. The large group of stuffed animals has reportedly been dismantled, with Andrew keeping just one small monkey, a relic from years ago. Beyond the logistics, there are serious concerns within the family about the emotional and psychological impact of this isolation.
But this new place will have 5 bedrooms, 2 reception rooms and a kitchen. Now you compare that with 30 rooms in Royal Lodge. It's going to be a big change. But he's insisting on having staff, chefs, housekeeper, gardeners, all that. He's not going to actually work very hard.
Marsh Farm is remote. Andrew has no established social circle in the area. He is cut off from the Windsor network he relied on, and from easy access to Heathrow Airport, which facilitated his frequent travel abroad. According to insiders, Princess Anne has been particularly vocal in her concerns. She is said to believe that pushing her brother into near-total isolation may be unwise. Prince Edward is understood to share some of those concerns. There are reportedly ongoing arguments within the family, not just between Andrew and the king, but between the king and other senior royals. Some feel the approach has been excessively harsh. Supporters of Andrew point out that he has never been convicted of any crime and continues to deny all allegations linked to Jeffrey Epstein. Sources claim the king himself has privately struggled with the situation. He is said to feel conflicted about stripping his younger brother of remaining royal status. The late Queen, it is claimed, never stopped believing in Andrew's innocence. At the same time, King Charles III faces pressure from Queen Camilla and Prince William, both of whom are believed to favour a much firmer stance. That tension has already led to small reversals. Andrew's access to the royal stables at Windsor has reportedly been reinstated, a quiet concession amid broader restrictions. Andrew would prefer Wood Farm as a permanent residence. It offers more space and a sense of dignity. That option has been ruled out. York Cottage was briefly considered, but rejected due to its size, cost, and its name, which is now deeply inappropriate given Andrew's loss of the York title. Friends say Andrew is unlikely to remain in Norfolk full-time. There are persistent whispers that he may spend extended periods abroad, possibly in the Middle East, including Bahrain, where he has long-standing connections and where his daughters are said to have visited frequently. Sarah Ferguson, meanwhile, appears to have moved more quickly to adapt. Many of her belongings, along with items belonging to Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, have been relocated to Beatrice's home in the Cotswolds. Whether that arrangement is temporary or permanent remains unclear. Despite their divorce in 1996, Andrew and Sarah remain unusually close. They still celebrate their wedding anniversary each year. This July will mark 40 years since they walked down the aisle, watched by millions around the world. At the time, they seemed to have everything. Now, the final departure from Royal Lodge marks the end of that chapter and the beginning of a far quieter, far smaller life lived largely out of sight. So the question remains, has the line finally been drawn, or has it been drawn too harshly? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you want to keep up with the latest royal developments, be sure to subscribe.